Hello, welcome, greetings, good day to you. You are listening to I Don't Get It, the pop culture Get Off My Lawn cast, featuring the open-minded musings of two early 50s curmudgeons.
How did that happen?
Time waits for no man or beast. As we stare down the prospect, the reality of our entertainment irrelevance, I'm your co-host. My name is Noah Tarnow. I'm the founder and the senior quizmaster of The Big Quiz Thing, the trivia game show spectacular, speaking to you straight out of San Francisco, California. And joining me this episode, every episode, my guest, my friend, my buddy, my cohort. Say hello, my friend.
My name is Bill Scurry. I am the founder and proprietor of American Caesar Enterprises, which is most known for being a studio in the Berkshires, which just makes really bad chainsaw sculptures out of discarded logs.
Sculpting with a chainsaw has got to be really hard.
I think that it's you know what? I'm going to give it up to the effort, but I'm going to assume there's probably a lot more bad chainsaw art out there than, like, the only chainsaw art we probably engage with is the good stuff. I don't want anyone to know, like, what is the hack work, the pedantry? What is that painter, the guy who makes those really shitty paintings that they sell in malls? He's been dead for the painter of light, Thomas Kincaid. Who's the Thomas Kincaid of chainsaw log artistry? That's what I want to know. You know, making really pedant type stuff.
You said the chainsaw art we engage with. What makes you think I engage with any chainsaw art?
You know, I think you're, as a man of your ilk, you have an open mind. You'll love of beauty. Mm-hmm. I have a feeling that you've engaged with more chainsaw art than you probably expect.
I haven't. This is a ridiculous.
What about ice sculpture? You know, like something like a debauched CEO, like Dennis Kozlowski. You had at this party where you pour vodka down the back of the Dionysian statue, and it comes out of his penis. That sort of thing. Yeah.
I was at a party once where someone had one of those.
Really?
It was a. I mean, they weren't even that rich. It was a waste of money.
It wasn't.
Thought it would be funny. It
wasn't even that rich. They just had a sculpture with a vodka flute in it.
Pretty much. No, but I mean, you can buy these things, ice sculptures with.
I have one right here. It's melting as we speak. It was a poor idea, but I got it.
Right. Anyway, welcome to our show. So. A bit of an unusual topic this week. What we normally do is we pick something happening in current pop culture and we discuss it and we try to make sense of it, try to keep up with what the kids are talking about. And, usually it's a movie, a TV show, an artist, a toy, a meme, something like that. But we're drifting into politics today. We have done politics before, right? We did an episode about Beto O'Rourke.
That's true.
What other political topics have we done?
Well,
some memes drift into politics, of course, like Sarah Cooper.
Right. Well, the big thing in the last election was Galaxy Gas. We talked about.
We did the weird thing, right? When Tim Walz was talking about Republicans being weird. So this is a bit of a content warning. We are going to talk about politics. If you listen to the show at all, you know general where we stand on the bigger issues. I am pro-America, anti-fascist. That's sort of.
I'm a Lyndon LaRouche follower.
You're all about Lyndon LaRouche.
People, if you think of me, that's what you think of.
Look up Lyndon LaRouche, people. That's an American story. I got to find a book on that topic. Anyway, but this one, I don't want to say it's more controversial, but I know people. Some people I know well. Some people who agree with me on most issues who will disagree with us or me or a lot of people on some aspects of this issue. Neither Bill or I live in New York City, but we met in New York City. We both lived in New York City for many, many years. Even though I didn't grow up there, I do consider New York home because it's where I lived the longest. Bill grew up outside. How long a drive were you outside New York when you were a kid?
It was about an hour and a quarter, hour and a half drive outside New York City.
But you'd never go there when you were a kid, right?
No, my parents are afraid of New York City, which is precisely the thing that made me gravitate towards it.
Okay. But you lived there many years. So we both consider ourselves New Yorkers. So we're talking about there is a New York mayoral election this year. And the Democratic nominee, as I'm sure you know, is Zohran Mamdani. And Zohran Mamdani has caught fire the way politicians sometimes do. So we're going to talk about Zohran Mamdani. His full name is Zohran Kwame Mamdani.
But he goes by Gary, though, as we discussed earlier.
He goes by Gary, yes. Like the robot in the Superman movie. He was born October 18th, 1991. So, Bill, we are quite likely months away from the mayor of New York being 16 years younger than us. How does that make you feel?
It's so weird because you think, there was a dividing line between our generations. Like, well, you were a Turtles fan or a Power Rangers fan. It's like, no, this guy was a Pokemon fan.
Yeah, he's beyond that, yeah. He was born in Kampala, Uganda, which I'm ashamed to say. When I think of Uganda, I still think of Kamala, the Ugandan
So it's like the country most known for its wrestler.
The pro wrestler who probably never visited Uganda in his life.
Or knew where it was on a map, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad because it's either that or Idi Amin, which I guess, yes, he was from Uganda, but is that really who they're proud of? So I probably should learn more about Uganda. He was born in Uganda. His parents are members, they're both still alive, of the South Asian diaspora to Africa. If you don't know, there are many, many people who originated in the South Asian continent, in his parents' case, India, who live all over Africa.
Mohandas K. Gandhi was one of the most famous, yeah.
Really? Where did he live?
South Africa.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Anyway, they live all over. In fact, one of the things I learned in the Idi Amin story was he booted out, part of his racist attack was he booted out the South Asians. They were the business class. So his father was an academic who is an expert in Africana studies. And his mother, I've heard of. She is a noted filmmaker, Mira Nair. Are you familiar with any of her films?
Yeah, man. If you get a chance, I know. I think Monsoon Wedding is the thing she's most known for. However,
that's I've heard of. And Mississippi Masala.
Masala it's a romantic, not comedy. It's a romance movie with Denzel Washington. However, Idi's got so much on his mind. It's got the performances are all great, and it's actually about something. It's a real kind of like a hidden like target, a silent missile, whatever the fuck you want to call it, the early 90s. Not what you expect coming at you, but it's a really fine film.
Anyway, so his mom is a very accomplished, famous person in her own right. At the age of 7, they moved to New York City. He grew up very privileged. He admits that. He went to the Bank Street School as a kid, where he, running as an independent, he won the mock election for school president in 5th grade. He went to Bronx Science High School, which I first heard of as the rival to the main high school in Head of the Class. Remember that show?
Oh, yeah.
They were always rivaled with Bronx Science, which is a real school. And then he went to Bowdoin College in Maine.
Did you read, by the way, that his father strangled a guy with a telephone cable while they were looking at Bowdoin College? I don't know if you knew that. It's true. It's a fact. I didn't make this up.
Satanic black magic. Sick shit. It's a Sopranos reference, folks. Okay, so after college, he moved to New York. He started rapping under the name Young Cardamom and then Mister Cardamom. You can watch some of his videos online. I'm no rap expert, but I thought they were passable. And he got involved. He was a foreclosure prevention and housing counselor in Queens, helping poor people not get foreclosed upon. And he got involved in politics. He volunteered. In 2020, he was elected to the New York State Assembly, representing part of Queens, Astoria, and Long Island City. And this year, he's running for mayor. And he ran as a Democrat, though he labels himself a Democratic socialist, like your boy Bernie Sanders. And at first, he was polling at 0%, and he ended up beating both incumbent Mayor Eric Adams, did Adams run the Democratic primary, or was he already an independent by then?
That's a good question. No, it's a technicality I'm not aware of.
You know what? I think he didn't run in the primary. That's right. So Mamdani beat out handily former New York governor and sex pest Andrew Cuomo in the ranked choice voting in the 3rd round. He won, crushed Cuomo. He is now the nominee. And he's running in the fall against Cuomo, who's now running as an independent. Adams, who's also running as an independent. And Curtis Sliwa of the Guardian Angels, once again, the Republican nominee. And Mamdani is polling ahead. And, never say never, because at this point in the 2001 mayoral election, the biggest thing hadn't happened yet. You can guess what that is. But it is looking like Zohran Mamdani will be the next mayor of New York. He is running on an explicitly progressive, left-wing, liberal, call it whatever the fuck you want, platform. He is proposing to make city buses free, as he says, fast and free. He wants to expand free childcare. One little thing he's saying that I love is baby baskets. If you have a baby in New York, you get a free basket from the city with diapers and formula and all sorts of good stuff. He is proposing a pilot program of city-owned grocery stores, starting with one in each borough, 5 of them. A grocery store that is run and owned by the city, subsidized by the city, so they're able to keep prices low to push, actual supermarkets and for-profit markets to, lower their prices, to make food and essentials more affordable.
In food deserts, no less, too, a location aspect.
Yeah, well, you start with one in each borough. My cat is obsessed with the microphone cable. He's talking about a rent freeze, which we had in the city before in not so distant past, for stabilized apartments and construction of 200,000 new affordable housing units. He's proposing Stop. He's going nuts here. He is proposing public safety reform. He has been, years ago, he used the slogan that I think is not helpful to anyone, defund the police, which I don't agree with, but he is singing a different tune now. To quote him, he says, police have a critical role to play, but right now we are relying on them to deal with the failures of the social safety net of reliance that is preventing them from doing their actual jobs. I agree with that 100%. He's pushing for a $30 minimum wage in New York City by 2030, single-payer healthcare in New York State. And how do you pay for it? His platform calls for tax increases on corporations and those earning above $1 million annually. And something he is often quoted saying is, quote, I don't think we should have billionaires, which I more or less agree with. So I'll go into more detail, but first, Bill, what do you think of Zohran Mamdani and his likelihood of being the next mayor of your town, New York City?
Yeah, my town. That's, that I do have it written in my notes here that obviously with you being where you are, or what is it? Steve Summers used to say on WFAN, you here, me there. We cannot legally vote in this race, but there is something about having a vested interest. This kind of is our popular culture.
I care. It's a joke. I've lived in San Francisco for 10 years, and I still feel like I follow New York City politics better more than San Francisco.
Yeah. And I don't believe I can vote for the mayor of Amsterdam as much as I've been here. There's as I was telling you before the mics went hot, as a sort of like resident alien with a green card, essentially, I can't vote on the national stuff, but I can vote on the local stuff. I don't think I put down a ballot for the Dutch, the Amsterdam mayor since I've been here. But like that's neither here nor there. I was kind of following some of this stuff from afar just because this crossed over from politics into pop. Kind of why we're talking about it, really. We sort of wind up talking about a sensation more so. Like that's what Beto was. As much as Beto had substance to him, he became kind of a cause celeb and somebody who was a little bit more of a pop figure.
The obvious comparison is Bernie. Obama in 08.
Right.
Bernie too, but I think Obama was running for president, so it was all consuming. But
yeah, if you wanted to, there are plenty of people who are right down the middle in terms of like procedure, and I don't see us having this conversation about Newsom, for instance. As much as Newsom is doing something like, there's just not.
We could do Newsom, especially what he's doing now.
We could, but I just don't see it happening. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like,
I can see it happening. I have thoughts about Newsom. I'm
a
Californian. I voted for him.
The weird thing was that more so than any other year, and again, me not living in New York now for going on 6 years or so, that the primary winds up becoming essentially the de facto election, and that whatever comes next is just a kind of coronation.
But that's true for half the elections in this country. Gerrymandering just makes that worse. All the red elections where the Republican primaries.
But New York has had its fair share of Republican mayors in our lifetime, and so it's never a fait accompli. It's like you have a bunch of bums, and the city is really at the moment doesn't seem like it's a blue toehold on the place. But it doesn't mean that you could never run another Republican here again. Bloomberg ran 6 times and won 9 of those. So it's kind of ridiculous. So I think that we in essence agree with pretty much the sweep of his values. We're talking about him because of his pop persona. And what I did not see before, but I looked up for research in this. I was mostly familiar with him on account of all the MSNBC that I watch and the podcast I listen to. I don't watch American news generally. I catch up on bits and pieces on YouTube, but for the most part, I still take it in the old-fashioned way. I read the Times, I read the New Yorker, I read the Washington Post. So it's like, almost like old-fashioned frontier dispatches from the back of a train as he's on a whistle-stop tour. I haven't really looked at him, and again, I'm not watching TV, so I'm not being fed his ads. So the thing I heard about was that there was this idea that he was kind of like creating an Insta TikTok persona. His messages were crunched down to a minute or so, and the halalflation thing was a big deal, right? That kind of was his signature ad that broke through. People were like chalking that up to be one of the excuses one of the reasons, not really excuses, one of the reasons why he kind of broke out. But it's like, on the other hand, it's like he beat the holy hell out of like old human meat statue Cuomo. On top of that, talk about like lab generating, like, artificial meat, a guy that is just designed now not to be liked, having pissed away any credibility.
I don't think it's artificial meat, because what tears him down is that he's not artificial. He's just, the creature of id.
Right.
And that's what we mostly hate about him.
He's the wizard of id, like my favorite comic strip by Johnny Hart.
Yes, because torture's hilarious.
And they do grow great, powerful beards in a way that I could never grow in that comic strip. Yeah, so, Mamdani doesn't really resemble any of our materials for a mayor in our lifetime. That's the other thing, too, is that my first, we grew up with Ed Koch, and then it was Dinkins, and then it was Giuliani, and then it was Bloomberg. And, it's like there's this chain of command. Those are guys that look like guys that were supposed to be the, John Lindsay. These are like, they had the look of what, like, if you were to cast these dudes, that's what they kind of look like along the way. I mean, then you get to the last few mayors, like Bill de Blasio had something to him in the first term, but it's like his reputation took a nosedive in the second term. But he was like, how tall is Bill de Blasio? Like 8'3"? The guy's this massive, towering guy. Yeah,
tallest human being who ever lived. Yes, I believe Guinness has certified him as that. Yeah.
And Eric Adams, less said about him, the better. On top of that, so on top of everything else, like and you said too, the real active ingredient is the guy is pitching himself. I mean, the reality of it, he has to just stand in front of you. He's as not white as you can get. No, that's just really, there's no shape. He's not trying to smooth his image out. He does ads in Bengali? And he does ads
he
in
speaks some
Farsi.
Bengali, speaks some Urdu. He speaks, apparently his Spanish is serviceable, which frankly I think should be, every mayor of New York should speak Spanish.
Yeah. And even Bloomberg.
How many New Yorkers barely speak English?
Bloomberg spoke Spanish. He did it poorly, but it was corny that he actually, sure he did. Yeah, he would do. So, this is a big step for a 33-year-old guy. Fucking 33, by the way. I know you said it again. He comes out of nowhere, becomes a pop culture figure on account of politics.
He's a good-looking guy. That helps.
Oh yeah. I mean, the guy has
he's a handsome man. Yeah.
Fucking handsome dude. Strong beard, strong chin. Everything. Guy. We'll sort of get into that. Yeah, that's right. The smile.
Yeah. I'm hard right now just thinking about Zohran Mamdani.
I can see there's a camera running. I can tell. It's funny, but the thing you talk about in New York City, iconoclast young person who comes in with a bunch of energy, upends things. I think of AOC, which is not too dissimilar from one another, but it's the idea. It's like, well, these are the threats to the gerontocracy, and it kind of started in the outer boroughs, which is cool. Anyway, so what'd you think of it?
Yeah, you said, like, boiling it down to TikTok. You go to his website and you're just smacked in the face with a slogan. It just says, Zohran Mamdani is running for mayor to lower the cost of living for working class New Yorkers. I mean, that's
James Carville. It's the economy, stupid. It's that kind of fucking.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Boilerplate. Yeah.
I mean, the stupid lie people fell for last year in the presidential election is eggs are too expensive. So I guess fascism is the way to go. I've said this a lot. I'm not the one who came up with this. I really should look for it, but I don't think we should have billionaires. I think you're done at $1 billion, taxed 100% beyond $1 billion. Although we'll give you a nice trophy. You won capitalism. I cannot imagine what people do with more than $1 billion.
I think you're seeing it. It's plainly evident. Look around you. You can see what they're doing with $1 billion.
But literally, I can't. I mean, other than buying an election or buying a judge, I don't know what to do with that much money.
Many judges, an entire panel, and an appellate system.
$1 billion. I just, what? Okay. Anyway, all right, let me start with what I don't like about Mamdani, or not even what I don't like, but I disagree with some of the things he said. So the elephant in the room is that Mamdani has consistently throughout his life been very, in college, he started a student group, Justice for Palestine. And he has said some things about the war in Gaza right now that have displeased many people, including many people I know and am close to and care about and agree with and blah, 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 blah. He said something a few years ago, or maybe a year ago, even globalized the intifada. Intifada, thank you. I always have trouble with that, which upset a lot of people, and I don't agree with that. He has since said some things that have calmed that a little. He has been, I watched him on Stephen Colbert, actually, both he and Brad Lander, who was one of his opponents. They cross endorsed each other in the primary.
I like that. That was a
choice.
nice feature of this thing.
Right.
The sort of superhero thing they got going there.
And now Lander is endorsing him, and there's some buzz that Lander will be deputy mayor if Mamdani wins. I would be all for that because Lander probably would have been my first choice if I lived in New York. Very clear, he's reached out to the very large Jewish community in New York, or many people in that. I do not believe he's an anti-Semite in any way, and he has expressed a dedication to fighting the unarguable rising tide of anti-Semitism in the United States and New York. He has called October 7th what it was, which was a brutal, disgusting attack by monsters. He is also saying that the way the Israeli government is conducting this war needs to be different, which is an understatement to what he believes and an understatement to what I believe. So, I have very, very minor misgivings when it comes to that. I am also not a socialist. I believe in heavily regulated capitalism. So I look at all these things he's promised, and he's promised them. He's not saying we're going to try, he's saying we're going to do them. And I have serious doubts. I love all these, or not love, I think free buses, I'm on the fence about. But if he could make this shit work, amazing. I just don't see it happening. First of all, you need the state to cooperate, especially the MTA. Their budget is from Albany. And who knows if that's going to happen? Kathy Hochul isn't the worst person in the world, but I don't see her, endorsing.
She's getting a little more radicalized, I'm glad to say, but maybe not fast enough. But she's creeping over to our side. She's
stepping up the way a lot of Democrats are. Not enough, but a lot are.
Yeah, exactly.
And by the way, if we haven't mentioned this, a lot of mainstream Democrats are fucking freaking out about this. They're saying this guy's too left. This guy's crazy. We need to stop him.
Hakeem Jeffries isn't saying anything about it.
Support Cuomo. Jeffries is running away. Schumer and Gillibrand, the senators in New York, are crazy. They're endorsing Cuomo, who is a sex pest, who resigned the governorship for good reasons. I mean, give me a fucking break. Anyway, getting back to Mamdani, the buses. He says, I'll make buses fast and free. That would be cool. But you know the adage of business, fast, cheap, and good. You can only have two. So does fast and free mean the buses will suck? Is that really worth it? I'll believe it when I see it. Both it actually happening and it actually working. That said, fast, cheap, and good, maybe it's not cheap. I mean, he's not just saying it'll be cheap. He'll say we're going to draw the money from elsewhere. We're going to tax millionaires. It's just cheap for working class, day-to-day New Yorkers, which maybe it should be. I mean, I used to be very pro free buses or free subways because I'm like, what? It's free to drive down the street. I mean, yes, now there's congestion pricing, but if you live in New York and you get in your car and you drive uptown, no one's charging you to use the road. It's not cheap. You pay with your taxes, or people pay with their taxes. You're just changing where the money is. So I have mixed feelings about that, but I'm intrigued by that. I like that Mamdani is moving the Overton window. I mean, we have been hiding. Democrats, the left, progressives, whatever. We have been hiding and screaming, don't hurt me, at Republicans for decades now. Enough of the shit. The right keeps moving farther right, farther in their crazy town, and they don't apologize. And what we stand for is actually what people want consistently. They want lower prices. They want police reform. They want, oh my God, they want housing relief. Even if he fails, let's try it. Let's move the Overton window. Mamdani is exciting. He's young. He's fresh. He's different. He's brown, and that counts a lot. It is motivating people, which the only way we're going to get out of this mess in this country is to get people off their fucking asses and get active. And if people go out there and get excited about Mamdani and go to a Mamdani rally or table from Mamdani or flyer from Mamdani or postcard or phone bank from Mamdani, they're going to get involved in politics. And that is the only way we're going to keep this country from completely collapsing in the next decade or so.
New York is suffering from a crisis, and it's called halalflation. Today, we're going to get to the bottom of this. How much does a plate of halal cost right now from this truck?
$10.
$10. Chicken over rice, lamb over rice, $10.
$10?
Yeah.
Noah, tell me, why is Zohran Gary Mamdani really? I was calling him Mamdani for a while because I was just listening to podcasts. Mamdani. Yeah. I thought that's what Rachel Maddow was saying was Mamdani. No, it's Mamdani. Why is he popular, Noah?
So I read the Substack every day of Robert Reich. Robert Reich is former labor secretary, professor at Harvard, I believe. And he's one of these old guys who keeps moving farther left, but very smart. And I like him quite a bit. And he wrote Progressives are winning elections across America with a mix of bread and butter proposals to help average people better cope with the cost of living and a message of hope that such proposals can be enacted and will work. I mean, there isn't, he's not splitting the atom there, but I think he's saying it very clearly what's going on here. And by the way, yes, progressives are winning elections. In special elections, since the orange felon was elected, Democrats are winning handily, and we are outpacing our rate of special election victories by 18% compared to where we were during Trump's first term. So it's a good sign. But then I read a New York Magazine article about Mamdani, and what I'm going to quote here are actually the comments the average New Yorkers are writing. And I think these are really summing it up great. So bear with me here. The first quote was, working class millennial Democratic voter here. We are drowning in student debt, can't afford housing or health care, and the president just trashed the economy to generational effect. Why doesn't the party put out a platform to address our actual issues? Maybe then we could have a more substantive conversation. Moderate means very little in a country as polarized as ours. We need a lifeline, and we need it now. So people are hungry for some help here. Whether or not Mamdani gives it, he's calling for it. He's saying it in clear terms, and that counts for a lot. So here's another quote, another comment. I like this. They're like you, Bill. He spells it in Mamdani. All right. That individuals like Mamdani and AOC are more appealing as human beings than the usual Komodo dragons like Gillibrand, the serial groper creep Cuomo, and glue factory Schumer isn't saying a lot. So backhanded praise to Mamdani. Like I said before, it is dark times, and whether it's a pipe dream or not, Mamdani is giving people hope. Also, he's different. He's a new generation. The fact that he's a rapper, I think, shows he's not. I mean, this is the biggest problem in the Democratic Party. We're relying on, fossils who I think aren't changing with the times, certainly not fast enough. And Mamdani isn't afraid of being Muslim and saying his name and wearing non-Western garb in his ads. And not really a quote, but a reference made on my favorite political podcast, Pod Save America. They really summed it up. I mean, this is why Trump won both times. They said it's no longer between left and right. It's between inside and outside. People feel so left behind by politics that a Muslim rapper, 33-year-old with, frankly, not a lot to show in his political career thus far, is catching fire. And Cuomo, who, my God, talk about the old guard. It can only get worse if you're his dad, although I don't think his dad groped anyone. The Democratic firmament going back decades. Of course, people are going to choose the new guy. So it's really unsurprising why this guy is probably going to win.
Yeah, he's a millennial politician speaking the millennial language.
Does he count as a millennial?
Of course.
Here's the thing. I hate these rules. How old are the youngest millennials?
He's the 33. I think is smack right in the middle of the millennial thing. I think that it works out.
Really?
Absolutely.
I thought the whole joke now is millennials aren't kids anymore. They're like 45.
Maybe he's on the younger test. So what? I don't know. Whatever generation.
Okay.
My point
I'm going to see what people online.
Google really see what Google's AI slop chat returns at the top of the page. And when you're there, don't click on any links. Give Google the benefit of the doubt that whatever this AI slop generates is the correct response without probing into the links that they're paying good service.
Okay. I don't want to waste time on this. Wikipedia says early 80s, birth years, early 80s to the mid 90s. All right, so
that would do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing is, it's like, the generation of the guys in there, he speaks the language, and that's kind of what I was interacting with for the most part. Thinking about, I knew that you would have the heavy lifting on policy and the sort of like the bigger landscape of this stuff. But to me, all I care about is the slick polish. I just want the razzmatazz, the show. I am in it for the surface thing, Noah. I am Billy Hollywood. As you know, that's my thing all the way.
Right.
So
it's why you voted for Trump, because he thought he was funny. Right?
Yeah, right. He's a guy I could sit down and have a gold toilet with. It was a big deal at the time.
Shit in the gold toilet with him. That's who I vote for.
So the thing, and you mentioned it, the pulchritude, the sort of handsomeness of it, the sort of dandy. That he's non-white, and his debonair thing is a quality of its own. I mean, he's not just handsome. He also, he's got a thick stalk of black hair, a nice trim beard that highlights a very handsome, flattering sort of movie star smile. And he's got an affinity for well-cut suits too. He wears them. He's the age where he could put on the airs of clothes that are younger. He could be wearing hoodies and all that shit and pull it off okay. However, he's dressing like the way you would expect a sort of public servant to dress, but he makes it look like his. It's really, I mean, it's subtle messaging. But again, it's like if he's going to wear their clothes and sort of like play their game, he's going to make it look good while he's doing it. Like you want to look like him rather than him dressing like you. It's kind of cool. And yes, I'll say it again, the halalflation ad, which I didn't watch the first time. I'd heard about it on Kara Swisher and I'd heard about it on MSNBC and the New York Times, but I hadn't watched it up until now. And it's him with a shotgun microphone on an XLR cable on a cold night going outside of halal trucks and actually stepping in and talking to the dudes who are making, you know, your chicken over rice, right? And he's asking these guys how much it costs to make, whether they own the carts or not, how much they pay for the use of the carts. Shit that I didn't know. Then again, I don't eat food off of halal carts. Because how do those guys wash their hands after they wee? You know, that's just my thing. Anyway, and it was a nice. Once I saw it, it's like, okay, I get why the older generation of media wonks really cared about this ad. I'm sure that the voters loved it. I'm sure there was a social media sensation, but it's like, I see why someone like Kara Swisher, who's in her mid to late 50s, is charmed by this. These people who observe media see something that they don't get to see very often because they don't really understand TikTok. They observe it because their children watch it, but they're not natives. So there is something really charming to it. You can sort of see the key to him unlocking this media sets. He speaks that language. So you get it, you know. And the thing is, it's like whatever he did is going to be imitated by a lot of shitty populists in about 16 seconds too.
4 years ago, Andrew Cuomo resigned in disgrace, and you probably know why.
The governor's office kept the nursing home death data secret.
Cuomo aggressively groped an aide.
Inappropriately touched a female state trooper.
Use of state resources for a COVID-19 memoir.
Less well known is what he spent the last 4 years doing, besides getting trounced in the Democratic primary.
What year did you move to New York?
10 days before 9/11.
And I probably met you. When did you? Because I met you because you were dating your wife.
I think
so when did you start dating?
February, January of 01. So January of 02. So probably February of 02 we met.
So you only lived in New York. You were only a swinging single in New York for a couple months, man.
That was it. Yeah,
I missed out. My 20s, nothing but fun.
I finished that shit. I said that's enough of that. Get the fuck out of here.
So I probably met you within your first year in New York.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
How about that? We met in 02? Yeah, that makes sense.
How about that?
So, Bill, if you were a young man, so back then we were almost 26 years old. If Mamdani had been running then, would you be, and you were voting in New York, would you be excited about his candidacy? How would you feel about this?
Yeah, you know, his big smile, the kind of easy handsomeness, the comfort with which he presents his 33-year-old self, you know, this kind of stunty TikTok theme of his campaign, whether it was TikTok or not. I mean, I'm assuming that's where a lot of people saw his ads. That's the kind of language. Yeah, you know, it positions him as a lot closer to the younger me than the fucking. I mean, we can and we probably should talk more about how crabby and shitty and stiff Cuomo is. Like, what a fucking, you know, human dump truck.
He doesn't seem to be interested in running. The primary, he didn't seem at all.
Yes.
Here's the thing. In the primary, he didn't seem at all interested in running. And now he just seems like his only interest is beating Mamdani because he's mad.
Yes. Yeah.
That's it.
It's pure.
What a stupid.
It's so fucking dumb. Well, you want to talk about somebody who, you know, he lived in Albany, he was a kid because his dad was a 2-term governor, and the one that we remember from when we were kids, from the early, up until 1992, I think, and then George Pataki took over, and he was a really
94.
shitty. 94, okay.
94.
Yeah, and so it's like I think he probably was like the, who was Rudy Giuliani's Andrew Giuliani, the dumb blonde kid who was crawling around.
I think Andrew, Chris Farley imitated him.
Exactly, yeah. I think that Cuomo, I mean, I'm sorry I'm talking about Cuomo rather than Mamdani, but it's like, I think it's context for me because Andrew Cuomo, I think probably grew up, it was probably insulted the staff in Albany. He probably demanded, you know, this Coca-Cola isn't cold enough. Bring it back.
He was an adult by then. I don't think he was a kid.
He wasn't a baby. His dad
was governor in the 80s.
Yeah, but it's like, well, that means he was.
I'm going to look up how old Andrew Cuomo was.
He was probably a teenager in the 80s is what I'm saying. Yeah, you get the point. But
he was born in 1957, man.
So yeah.
So when his dad was governor, his dad was elected, I believe, in 82.
So he was
not a kid.
He was 14 years old by that point. Yeah, I know. I understand. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, 14 times 3 or something.
Anyway, Cuomo is a guy who thinks that the state owes him a curve on account of who his last name is. We know that for sure. So, you know, yeah, I'm thinking about it not just in terms of like how kind of cut out for the job this guy could be and how how seemingly cut out for the job he can be, but how unlikely Mamdani's origins are. But the thing is, it's like, again, look at the fucking coterie of freaks and mutants, the kind of like rogues gallery of the Brotherhood of like the Pyro, the Blob, Graviton, like these guys who's working for Magneto that are all running at the same, or the Sinister Six. You know, it's like your candidates for governor are Sandman, Lizard, the Vulture, the Hobgoblin. There's a bunch of assholes. You know, it's like
Electro.
I would, yes. I mean, compared to Curtis Sliwa, you know, who does fancy himself a real life New York City superhero, like the Punisher.
That's what I thought of when I was a kid. I thought the Guardian Angels looked so fucking cool, and I thought they were like real life Batman. If I, by the way, I'm sorry, I'm jumping the gun here. If I were a kid, Curtis Lee was different now, but like I would have wanted Curtis Sliwa to be mayor then.
I look, that's my.
It's like electing Batman mayor. How can you not like?
So I know, but tell me more about that. This is your turn to talk in this segment now.
All right, sorry, I cut you off.
No, I was done.
Seriously, were you going to say more?
No, I was done. I was just talking about, again, the comparison of guys like Curtis Sliwa. It's like the freaks and mutants, you know?
So, would I have supported him when I was younger? There's something I need to say. Our friend and listener, Aaron Grunfeld, when I told him this was and he's a New Yorker, and I'm pretty sure he ranked Mamdani somewhere and will definitely vote for him in the general. He made me promise to reveal something here on this show. That in 1997, shortly after I moved to New York, and I voted in New York City for the first time, there was a mayoral race, and I voted for the incumbent, who was a Republican. The one time in my life I voted for a Republican, and it was Rudy Giuliani. I voted for Rudy Giuliani. Now, to say I regret it is odd, because he would have won anyway. And at the time, I'm like, look, the city seems to be run well. His Democratic opponent is a nothing, which is ironic, because I later met her and had a good experience meeting her, and she even did me a favor. But I thought Giuliani seems all right. Maybe he's a Republican, but he seems socially liberal. And, I love the novelty of voting for a Republican for once. So yes, I voted for Rudy Giuliani for mayor.
And your enthusiasm was alloyed after the Amadou Diallo shooting. It really cemented for you.
A little bit. And I was not one of these people after 9/11 who was like, no, make him king. Like, give me a break. Like, he did a great job after 9/11. He did a job that any decent mayor
enough about that fuck guy. Let's hear about Amadou Diallo.
I've seen Borat too. I know. I'd probably be really into him. I'd feed off the young energy. Mamdani, by the way. I'd feed off the young energy, and I was more idealistic back then. As many, many people are by the time they get older, I've become a little more jaded and more cynical. I'm still more of an optimist and an idealist than many people I know. But I think I would have been really excited about him more than I am now. So yeah, I don't know if I'd be out on the street, working for him and growling for him. I didn't do that for any politician back then. I wasn't really into politics yet. But, maybe that level of energy and that age would get me involved in politics earlier than I was.
I'm about to say something to you you've never heard a politician say. Please stop sending us money.
No, let's pivot to the apocalypse. Do you see a sign of the end times? The seals being broken on the sands of the desert by the anointment of this man as our next holy one.
As I said before, first of all, I think it's crazy. People like Schumer and Gillibrand who are like, no, we must run from this guy. He's too, again, it's Democrats running for governor. Own it. People support what we support. We're right on the issues. Fucking own it. The Republicans are wrong on the issues. They own it. And somehow they still win elections. So explain this shit to me. However, I worry that he will fail because I don't see how he's going to do all these things. And I worry when I hear him talk, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'd be a little less worried if he said, we're going to use every tool at our disposal. And if we all team up and work together, we can make this happen, but it's going to be hard work. Again, the fast, cheap, and good thing. I really wonder that he's blowing smoke up our asses. I worry about that because if he wins and he says free buses and he gets nowhere with that, he says city-owned grocery stores and he gets nowhere with that. If he fails, this will be a nonstop drumbeat. Forget Fox News. Most left-wing and mainstream media saying, see, we told you socialists are crazy. See, we told you Democrats fail every time. See, we told you brown people shouldn't be put in charge.
Where do you see the op-ed page of the Washington Post? Believe it.
Yes. And it will, I mean, this was my concern about Bernie Sanders in 2016, that if he got nominated, he'd lose. I think he would have beaten Trump in hindsight, but at the time I thought he's going to lose. And they'll say, see, we told you all along, Democrats are socialists. One thing I like to talk about, or more accurately, one thing I like to complain about is, Bill, do you know who Sam Brownback is?
Yeah, I know the name.
So he was a senator and then the governor of Kansas. And about 10 or 15 years ago, when he became governor, I might have some details wrong here, he initiated what he called the Kansas experiment. And they did a radical lowering of corporate taxes. And he said, this is going to be a shot in the arm. Kansas is going to explode with success.
Oh, and it exploded. I remember this. It certainly exploded.
Fucking failed. They had to close public schools. This is why Kansas today, bright red Kansas today, has a Democratic governor, Laura Kelly. And I remember the time going, why isn't this all over the news? Can you imagine if a Democratic governor in Vermont had said, we're going to do the Vermont experiment and we're going to go radical left, and the state failed that much? It would be number one story on Fox News every day. And it would drift into MSNBC and CNN and the Washington Post and the New York Times. And no, it was barely talked about. So if Mamdani gets in and fails, this will be, I'm afraid, a real black mark on anything left of Nazi at this point. I am also very scared, worried. Who is in the White House now? What he did this week with Washington, D.C., already threatening to do it in New York City with this fantasy that the streets are, roving gangs of maniacs murdering and raping people with abandon, which is a complete fascist fantasy. And I worry that simply Mamdani winning, a guy with a scary name, Zohran Mamdani, who was born in Uganda, that will be justification enough for the orange felon and his minions to basically terrorize the city. All that said, I would still vote for him in a heartbeat at this point. We should still try, because we got to try.
Yeah, that's my note, what you just said there. I assumed you were going to hit it. The idea that the retribution is coming. There's no doubt about it. First of all, presumably...
Then we'll fight. If we got to fight, we'll have to fight. Democracy is not supposed to be easy.
Look, I have nothing... of course, I have skin in the game. I don't own anything in New York, but I own New York in my heart, etc.
I got a lot of friends in New York.
As I'm saying, yes. I don't live there.
We have skin in the New York game.
But I have little power to do anything about it, and I care about this place.
You could give him money. You could volunteer for him.
I don't think I can volunteer for him. I'm a little farther away right now.
You could volunteer. There's a lot. What do? I'm volunteering for people in Virginia.
I could go to Harlem, the one with 2 A's. Maybe you can help me out up there too.
All right. I mean, if that's a way to help some democracy,
Yeah, I don't look forward to seeing. Honestly, while you're waiting for the 6 train, watching the guy, just get grabbed off the spackle bucket as he's drumming and pulled away by ICE agents, because it's I have no doubt that they're going to trample over people's civil liberties. They're going to put National Guardsmen they'll be walking up and down my old street on 15th Street. And of course, the other dark obsidian nightmare is that the fucking NYPD is going to roll over for all this, because this is all they want to do too. They want to tackle bicyclists.
New Yorkers are being crushed by rent and childcare. The slowest buses in the nation.
In any way are you jealous of Zohran Mamdani? Or jealous, how about this? Jealous of the New Yorkers who, are getting excited about him.
No, let's go to the guy with the full head of hair, Noah. Make it a lot more local first. And he can grow a healthy-ass beard and he still has a chin, whereas I lost my chin about 15 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
I had a full head of hair at 33. I bet you did.
It was at 33? Yeah, probably.
Well, you were losing it by then.
The tonsor was coming in then, too. Yeah, so it's I was going to say, you know what? We've actually it came up at the beginning. It's a testament that we haven't really engaged with the whole Nepo thing, because, he did answer to some degree, or at least he engaged in the, owing the fact that he had affluence growing up. Whatever you would...
He's not trying to hide it. He's not pretending he's some shit kicker from the, from the woods or whatever.
Yeah, it's he grew up with again, Mira Nair isn't a successful. She didn't make Jurassic Park 3 or anything like that. I'm
sure. Apparently, his dad did great too. His dad,
he was an academic. Yeah, but it's that's a different register. I don't know how much it is. It's enough money to live in New York. It was comfortable middle class existence in New York. All that stuff. Also,
I think it was upper middle.
Upper middle class.
I think they had money. Yeah,
but that's cool. That's I the fact that I'm not sitting here again sharpening my knives over this really says something. I'm not engaging in jealousy for that. Usually, I am the first person to stick the Nebo knife on somebody's side if it's there to be had. I think that the comfortable existence of the two intellectual parents is a big deal. Maybe more so than the money. That looks like he had a nice cushion around him to be able to think big. He formulated a personality. He started a cricket team at Bowdoin, or I can't remember his high school.
So.
Yeah, I was like, there's just something about him that's like he's not necessarily a joiner. He looks like he's an organizer, which is kind of cool. He's got that sort of thing going for him. But again, he's got hair. I think he's smarter than me. He's more handsome than I am. He's definitely more charismatic.
I hope he's smarter than me because I would be a bad mayor of New York.
I'm just saying, look, you could be dumber than me and be a good mayor, but it's easier if you be smarter. But it's like the level of his activation, the fact that he's never not been apparently this. That's a big deal. Like you're just seeing the 33-year-old version of this guy.
Well, did you read that article about when he, as an independent, won the school election in fifth grade?
That stuff is crazy.
Terrific.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. It's like you're seeing.
It's in Slate. Look at I don't remember the author's name, but someone who went to fifth grade with him wrote an article about him winning the
This isn't like somebody.
This
isn't like somebody who shuffled around their 20s and early 30s, being say addicted to heroin with a giant family last name and a huge trust, and then just decides to go into public.
Addicted to cocaine and became president of the United States in 2000.
They go into public service because they have this name and this sort of expectation. Anyway, whatever. Blah blah blah. We're not going to mention either of those two guys. So yeah, he looks well placed and successful to be a mayor. I ain't hate him for that. So yes, jealous pulchritudinally, jealous for his fitness, jealous for he looks again. He's the world is his oyster, but I'm happy that he's entitled to. God, eat the oyster, man. Go for it, dude. It's yours.
In terms of the NEPA thing, one thing that really enrages me is when people, and Cuomo's like, if he cares about housing, he would leave his $2,500 a month apartment in New York. First of all, $2,500 is not a super expensive apartment.
No, not at all. That's very affordable.
He just got married at the beginning of this year. He met his wife on Hinge. So I'm jealous of that he met someone on Hinge that he ended up marrying. Because I have not found Hinge to be that effective. Anyway, no, but the thing about the Nepo thing, how can rich people support poor people is so fucking stupid. First of all, if you're a Democrat and you're angry at that, then you have to hate FDR, okay? And second of all, you also have to hate Batman, okay? Like the idea that someone rich and pampered would look out for the poor and the destitute and makes them a hypocrite is so absurd and stupid.
It's facetious. It's fucking facetious,
right?
Man.
I mean, noblesse oblige. I still sort of believe in that, but that's gone by the wayside in our culture.
It died with George H.W. Bush.
Yeah. I'm jealous that he's the handsome thing, sure, whatever. But, he's got that leader thing that I always kind of wanted. And I lead a very, very small business. And sometimes it's an uncomfortable fit for me. So, yeah, I always wished I had that magnetism. Like, I remember trying to run for school something or other in fifth grade and getting nowhere. And I only wanted it because I wanted people to look up to me. But, you're not going to get that. You need to have something in that department before you can get that job, right? And I didn't have that thing. So how was I going to get it? And, if I'd gotten it, I wouldn't have done it well. So, yeah, I'm jealous that he's got the leader thing going on. And one of my many idle fantasies in another life is I would have been mayor of New York. Again, I think I'd suck at it, but in this fantasy, I'm a different person. And I think that would be a kind of interesting job. Be jealous of this guy.
And where would you rank this, Noah? Let's close it up with the spectrum. Mm-hmm. Everything we've ever talked about in our entire lives, what do you comp this with on our XYZ scale of axes, thingy stuff, objects?
All right, so what politicians have we looked at in the past? We mentioned Beto O'Rourke. Is he the only actual... Oh, no, we looked at... The fuck's his name? I already forgot. The prime minister.
UK. Yeah. Oh, that guy.
He's not prime minister anymore.
Rishi Sunak.
Oh, yep. Rishi Sunak.
Yeah.
He didn't last long.
No, but it was a moment we had.
Yeah. Beto O'Rourke times, and I know this is Asia versus Puerto Rico, but
two great bands from 1982, buddy.
Yeah, Puerto Rico. They were awesome. I said Beto times 1/64 of Bad Bunny. Yes, Bad Bunny is Puerto Rican, but the idea is both of these guys are non-white, have radically embraced their non-whiteness and, reached the top of their field regardless, perhaps because of that.
Yeah, because of it. I think it's better.
So that's why I 1/64. Bad Bunny's not a politician. Beto times 164 the Bad Bunny. Plus, you got to add some New York in there. We haven't really done too many explicit New York topics. So I said plus 1/8 of Shohei Ohtani. Because, not from New York, but plays for New York. Wait, I already forget. Wait, was he Yankee or Met?
No, wait, Shohei Ohtani he's one of the elite Dodgers.
Oh, really? He's not.
You know what? Roll with it, though.
Just how much I follow sports. I already forgot.
Go with it. No, it's okay. We'll still accept
No, wait.
that as an answer.
Have we done any New York topics?
Any specifically New York topics?
Seriously,
Well,
have we done anything like New York centric?
I mean, I guess that technically the Gentle Minions were born in New York.
No,
I don't know.
Country.
No, I don't think we did a whole lot. I mean,
right,
it's okay.
So Beto times 164th of Bad Bunny plus 8 million, whatever the population of New York is now, and that takes you to. I seriously thought Shohei was like a Yankee or something.
You know what? It just adds to your
That
charm.
takes you to-
It's
to-
really
to
good.
Zohran.
No, it's really good.
Yeah. Okay.
I think there's something additive to this between the concepts of Bernie memes, which we did talk about, and game stonks. It's kind of like there's this level of it's an activism. I guess that's not really. Game stonks was kind of quasi-activism. It's so strange to think that fucking buying junk stocks, AMCs or fucking game. There's some noble good work to that. I don't know. Somehow it was a strange discussion, but you had underclass phenomena, and the idea that they were kind of like piggybacking on this striking back at powerful interest in the unlikely personage of Bernie, 10,000 years old as he is, and game stonks again, which is just like people gaming the market off of, what is it, Robinhood, whatever people are doing day trading on.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
I barely understood that at the time.
Yeah, I mean, this is like take those things, and it's like I think there's something more noble. Maybe we won't talk about him again, other than an offhand reference when he is presumably the mayor-elect, and then the inaugurated mayor of New York City, and will be living in the world. But I don't know. Maybe it will come back into play. Maybe it'll affect other topics. I don't know. It'll certainly be a sea change in terms of big city big city mayoralties, and see if it sort of has a ripple effect on things going forward. I don't know.
All right, so that's it, Bill. We're done, and good luck to New York City, one way or another. Well, I hope to visit. I'm actually I'm in the early stages of planning my next trip. I haven't been there since December, but it's still home. So hoping to be there in October. I'll see some Mamdani action going on. It'll be in the heat of election season.
You vote early, no, and vote often, as we like to say. So if you'd like to find past episodes of this particular program, as Paulie Walnut's mother says, I just love that pronunciation of program. Program. Yeah.
A few characters on The Sopranos say that.
Yeah, it's old school. Yeah. I like it. It's my grandparents. Yeah, look on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Google Play, YouTube, Skeet. Jesus, I trip over every single time I read that. Blue Sky, right? Noah and Bill Show. bsky.social. Write to us at noahandbilldon'tgetit@gmail.com and give us a review on the aggregators. I am on social media. You can find me easily on billscurry.bsky.social, at William Scurry on Twitter, Insta, all these places along the way. Sina Weibo. I think we went over the Chinese social media. That was also big presence there, really boiling up in the mainland area. YouTube.com/AMCaesar is where you'll find this podcast and all the video stuff I make, and Noah will tell you where you can hire him for the big Quizling.
The big Quizling. Yes, we do. We do game shows for Norwegian traders who collaborate with the Nazis. Look it up, folks. No, The Big Quiz Thing is my company. Check us out at bigquizthing.com. The finest in corporate and private live trivia events, nationwide, worldwide, in-person, virtual. August is usually slow, but it's kind of busy for us. Had a lot of fun this week. I did an event for an office park in Menlo Park, California. Actually, a quarterly event. Do that every quarter. One for an office building here in San Francisco. A lot more fun coming up. And the finest Quizmaster team in the world. And by the way, after over a year, I've started Instagramming. We've started Instagramming again at The Big Quiz Thing. So check us out at Big Quiz Thing on IG. I'm also personally on Insta at the Noah Tarnow. And that is all I have to say about that.
All right, everybody. So until the next episode, where me and Noah talk about cross-endorsing each other and running for the mayor of Legoland, Denmark. We don't get it.
A production of American Caesar Enterprises 2025.